Hello everyone, welcome to today's parts tour for 2023. I've actually gotten quite a bit of couple parts, but as always, like last year, I'm going to have to do this in two different places, so the video will be cut up as so. With that being said though, let's get started. Let's start with the Schindler 5500 lantern, or linear lantern. This is pretty cool. As you can tell, this is a California Code version. And it was new old stock, which was pretty cool. Right here we got a custom Dover Impulse lantern. This is typically not the way they are supposed to be set up, but this one's a little bit more, I guess, custom. Usually they have black stuff around them, like a black protective covering and stuff. But this one is just slapped on a metal panel. So, pretty interesting. I have seen something like this on a Dover mod, but that's about it. It's a pretty interesting setup, honestly. Here is my Dover car top station. Got free switches and free buttons. And here is my Dover traditional pyramid-shaped lantern. This is from somewhere in San Antonio. I think somewhere on the Riverwalk. I've kind of forgot, but I got this from Rafe, aka Grayish Valley, so huge thanks for him for that. It's a pretty cool piece. Here's some more miscellaneous parts. Got an Otis Bakelite black button call station that came off of a manual, I believe, and somewhere in Reading, PA, or at least it looks manual. I don't know if the elevator that this came from got completely ruined or decommissioned or demolished. I don't know, but it's easily my favorite part, and it's in great shape. Here's my Cutler Hammer call station. Really love the design of this, but the labeling is pretty weird. Pretty cool though. And then right here is my ThyssenKrupp Aurora call station. I was doing a video on this, but these are not Aurora buttons though. The panel itself is Aurora, but the buttons are Signa 4, believe it or not. They press completely different to Aurora and look completely different. I'll go over this in a later video, but that is my parts at the house. Let's move over to the apartment. So I temporarily moved my floor indicators, so they're just on this windowsill. Right here is an armor indicator, as you can see. Right here is the UR Circle floor indicator that came out of Union Square office building. And as we all know, these are actually buttons for some reason. And they make a very horrible sound. But these are pretty interesting. And here is a mass collection of lanterns I've gotten over the time. Oh, starting the collection. Let's get started. Starting out here, we got an Otis Series 1 lantern. This is the external version. Here is a Westinghouse lantern. Schindler also used this exact design. Right, here's something I never thought I'd get. This is a Northern lantern. Pretty cool. And here is a ThyssenKrupp lantern from the traditional series. This technically came from Dover, but this is from the ThyssenKrupp era, which is pretty interesting. Here is probably the most ridiculous lantern I own. This is a never used Mad lantern, and it's very lanky for whatever reason. I don't know why, but I like it. It's hilarious. Here's what I believe to be a Dewhurst lantern. Pretty interesting. It's got the pyramid shape, which is pretty cool. Right over here we got a custom innovation lantern. Interesting design. And here's a regular innovation lantern. And right in front is a Montgomery lantern. It usually does not sit here, but I moved it over here for this video. Here's my miscellaneous parts. I don't have a place to put these right now, so they just sit here. Here we got a Kone KSS 570 call button. It was never used, but it's pretty dirty. But I cleaned it up to the best of my ability. It's a little grimy. Right here is a new old stock Schindler HT lantern. This is pretty interesting. This actually was going to be used on a 340A somewhere in either Ohio or Indiana. It was supposed to be used in a hotel, but it never did. And
here it is. It's got the circuit board on the back. No chime at all. So no chime box. This would have been a core lantern. But it's pretty interesting. Here is my Otis Series 1 COP. I go to a more in-depth video later. But this is the only COP I have, but it's better than nothing. It's definitely seen better days, though. Now, what would have been my nightstand has become my temporary Otis display. I've definitely gotten a lot more since last year. I've only had like 3 parts. Now it's pretty much doubled. Over here is my Otis Series 1 call button. This is the older version from the 80s to early 90s. It's got a priority service light and fire service. Unfortunately, the key does not fit in there for whatever reason. I think it's because it's become so corroded, but that's unfortunate. Right here is a Otis black button. Pretty cool. Here is a newer Series 1 call panel. This is circa 1993. Fire key. Oh, gotta turn it the other way. Fire key works. Well, I guess not in its current position. Oh, there we go. It's just a little bit finicky. I don't think that's supposed to how it's worked, but that's how it works. And we'll just leave it in there for now. Here's an Otis Micromotion Free button, new Series 4 if you want to call it that. This would have been used on a Hydrofit or Gen 3, but it wound itself on eBay, so I had to get it. Here's that new old stock Otis Janus phone, which I still don't know why I even bothered to get. But, still pretty interesting. You know, on top is everyone's favorite Series 5 lantern. It's the egg lantern. It's all grimy. I guess it was never used. But, yeah. This is my nightstand now until I get a bigger shelf to display most of my parts. But for now, this is where they sit. And last but not least, the main display. Starting up here with the Dover shelf, not much has changed except one new addition. Right here is the first part I ever got. It's an impulse lantern. Pretty standard. This is the later version, as you can tell by the circuit boards. Here is an intermediate impulse call station. Pretty tall. Comes with fire service. Had to buy the keys separate. But works. Here's probably my most iconic part. If you watch my Rumble Odyssey videos. This is the impulse call station with the turn dial. That's supposed to be for delivery. I still don't know how this works. I've seen thousands of impulses, but not one with that switch. Right, here's the late 70s to late 80s style Dover traditional. The very flimsy buttons and does not want to stay in place. And I'll fix that right quick. And right next to it is the good version of Dover traditional. This is a weird panel though. This is definitely not a call station. This is like a fire service add-on, which is weird for Dover in the 70s. So you got a door close button, and this button is really satisfying to press. There's a door close button, and then there's a fire service key. I've demonstrated this in a previous video, but if you take this key and put it into here, it actually works. The key slot is the exact same as the impulse, but it has a completely different base compared to this. So it's, whoa, it just fell down. That's a fail. But it's a pretty cool piece. Very weird though. And then down here is a part of a COP from an impulse. Pretty standard. Down here is just a mishmash of buttons from random different brands and companies. So right here we got a CJ Anderson call button. Definitely looks like it was part of a manual. It's definitely the most noisiest fixture I have so far. It's from Rosenberg Elevators, which I believe is based out of Wisconsin. Right here is a GAL VP call button. Very small panel, but I'm glad to have a GL part now. Over here is a collection of Westinghouse buttons. We got Type A, which is one of my least favorite fixtures from Westinghouse, but I've only seen this one time out in the field, and that's over in Charlotte, believe it or not. Right next to it is Westinghouse RT, or in this case, literally just Atom Survivors, but customized for Westinghouse and or Schindler, depending on what area you got it in. Right here is my Atom Survivors Plus call button that I paid way too much for back in the day, but I've cleaned it up finally, so it doesn't have all that terrible tape on it covering. Here's the EPCO SSL H call button that practically everyone has. If you know, you know. There was like 1 million of these sold. And right here we got an Innovation Universal call button from an island station that I got from Ray. So huge thanks to him. The panel itself is in the closet, but if you want to see what it looks like, just watch last year's video. To end off, we got a Dover VR call button. This is from the Dover era, believe it or not, because it looks very ThyssenKrupp. It's got a keypad, which is pretty interesting. I'll probably cover that in a later video. And there's actually a light down below it. It looks like it would be like a scanner, like an RFID reader or something, but it's not. And last but not least, we got this thing that's still in pieces. This is my Otis Black Button rotodial call station. It's in pieces. I do not have a back box, unfortunately, but I will try to get one. Hopefully next year, but you know how that's going to go. But it's pretty cool to have one of these, since rotodials in general are pretty rare to find nowadays, especially for me. So this is a pretty cool piece to have, even though it's in pieces right currently, but still pretty cool. And that completes my parts tour for 2023. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.